Welcome to this tutorial on basic searching in PsycINFO and More. PsycINFO and More is a combined search for databases of scholarly publications curated by the American Psychological Association that the University of Michigan Flint Thompson Library provides through the database company EBSCOhost. There are three databases that are specifically curated by the APA: PsycArticles, PsycINFO, and PsycExtra. Each of them has slightly different content. PsycINFO is probably the largest and includes the most, so that's why we call it PsycINFO. We've also included EBSCOhost's Psychological and Behavioral Sciences collection. However, you can search any of these databases individually. To get to PsycINFO and More, you'll need to go through the University of Michigan Flint Thompson Library's website, and then you have several options on how to access that. You can go through the Databases tab or the Database A to Z list. There is a link on the library's homepage for the frequently used database list. And we also have a subject guide for specifically psychology, though PsycINFO and More will also be found on other research guides like social work or education. And one thing to note is that if you are off campus, you will need to sign in to search the database. To start our demo off, I'm going to briefly show you how to get to PsycINFO PsycArticles. So of course, under frequently used databases on the library's homepage, you'll see it listed here because it is such a popular resource. We have it just linked out on the homepage. However, you can search through the Databases tab or the A to Z database list here. And I will always plug the fact that on our subject guides, you have pages for pretty much every major or program at the university, and I want to bring up the psychology guide in specific because it also has additional resources like the DSM-5, SAGE research methods, psych test, handbooks from APA psychology, as well as help with APA style and citations. To access PsycINFO and More anywhere on the library website, you just simply click on the link out to the database. If I'm off campus, I'll be prompted to log in with the single sign-on if I haven't logged in another session or another tab or something that's already open. But since I'm on campus, I'm taken directly to the basic search page here. Notice that you can actually see which databases you're looking at, and if I click on them, I can actually see this huge list of databases that we subscribe to through EBSCOhost. You'll notice that all three APA databases are checked, and then the Psychology and Behavioral Sciences one is here too. If I wanted to not search in something, so say for example, I didn't want to search in PsycExtra because I didn't really want to focus on conference papers and kind of gray literature, I could uncheck it and then hit select, and it would change the databases that I'm looking in. So I'm going to actually just start typing in a search term here so that you can see what happens. Now, PsycINFO and More is going to start suggesting some search terms related on what you're putting in. You can ignore these though, or you might find them useful. I'm going to keep it really simple to start off with and keep it super broad. We'll narrow it as we go down. There are also a couple of very popular, very standard filters that are available right off the bat. There's this peer-reviewed option, which will limit your results to just academic journals that have been peer-reviewed, articles that are coming from those. So this is a very popular one. You'll also see that you have this ability to limit by date range. So there's a couple of preset ones to the last year, up to the past 10 years. These go by the date that you're searching though. So I'm searching in early July right now. So this past 12 months would be like that kind of June through, or I guess July through July cycle, basically. I could do a custom date range for either like a full calendar year, so 2020 through 2026, or I could even do month ranges here. The one filter that's available on this page that I would never suggest you use is the full text, and this is because we have enabled linking between our subject-specific databases and each other. So for example, if PsycINFO and More does not hold the license to the full text of an article that is housed in, say, Wiley or Springer or something, there will be a link that leads out to that, and we'll show you that in a little bit. But that's why we never really want to use that full text option. One last thing to note before we actually run a search here is that there is the option to move over to an advanced search right off the bat here, and that will be covered in another one of our videos. But I'm going to click search, and we're going to check out our results screen. So because we kept this search incredibly broad, we see that we've got over 500,000 results here. And that is way too many for anything to really go through. So we need to start creating better searches. So if I am looking for a particular type of depression, so postpartum depression, for example, and then again, you'll see some additional searches that are kind of coming up here, or additional key terms that are being suggested, and maybe I want to see some therapy options for that. I'm going to, again, redo my search here, and we go from over 500,000 down to 2,300, which still a lot, but a little bit more navigable. I might also want to throw in some of these filters here to get that down. We see a few right off the bat, so that peer reviewed, that publication date one are right at the top. And we have additional filters we could throw on, but those we're going to show in another video. So let's take a look at the actual results screen. It is defaulted to show 10 at a time, and there are going to be at the bottom of our initial list here, the ability to go through different pages here. It is ranked by relevance, but you could change this if you wanted to see the most recent results that are coming back, some of the old or the oldest, for example. And there's some additional tools that you can use here as well. So if I was looking at these and I wanted to grab all of them, or I wanted to save a couple and share them on, that's what these tools are for. So I can grab individual ones here, like so, and you'll see that I've got 3 selected. I could grab all 10 that are on this page, and this drop down will actually let me grab up to 50. I can deselect them if I've grabbed too many. I can also export like an enormous amount of results. And when this happens, it'll actually ask you to create an account with EBSCO. However, you do not need to just to search within PsycINFO. But for my 10 results here, I can do a couple of things. So I can download, but typically this download is just going to give me like the metadata. I can save items. So if I am, instead of grabbing 10, I'm saying, hey, I want to save these 2. I can put these will go into my saved items within, which is a temporary folder to kind of hold on to these and come back to it. I can actually share out items, so I can email stuff to myself, which includes links back to these things. I could also throw things into a Google Drive. And again, this will give you like a citation information here. And finally, I can actually get some citation information in a bunch of different styles. So it kind of defaults to APA, but there are several other major styles that you'll see. You can also export citations to a citation manager like Zotero. So these are kind of bulk actions you can do, but these actions will also be repeated on individual records as well. So let's take a look at this first result here. So you'll see that it has some information about the title, where it was published, authors, some subjects that are listed, as well as an abstract and even more information. Now, not all of the records are this kind of stripped down. Some of them will be more robust, and I'll show you one of those in a second. But before I do, I just want to show that you have some access options here. And this one is linked full text. And again, this is why we don't want to limit to full text, because basically PsycINFO and More doesn't have the licensing option to this, but Wiley does. And so we have created this link out through the other library subscription. So this is why we don't want you to kind of limit to full text within the subject-specific databases. All right, so looking at another record that is a little bit more robust than we just saw, you'll notice that this one has a different access options. So in this case, we can see a full text PDF right off the bat, and it is formatted. It has some of those same tools in order to save an item, get citation help, share it, download it, print it. There's also the ability to listen and some additional accessibility support here. But there's also the option to see kind of a online full text, and this is a very stripped down version of the text, and it has more accessibility options to see a table of contents, but also to listen and even get a translation of this. And then there's additionally some more information about this article. So you'll see information about the publishers as well as key terms. You'll start to see subjects that are put on by PsycINFO, and then you'll see things like population, age group, classifications, sponsorships, methodologies. Sometimes you will even see the test or measure that was used in here. So there's there's definitely some information that you can find about these articles even before you get into reading the abstract or reading the full text of something. And you'll notice in here again, those same kind of save, cite, share, and download tools are listed here just for this individual article. So I can again save this to my folder if I wanted to. I can also share out and like actually put things in Google Drive, create a link specifically back to this, email basically a copy of this to myself as well. One last thing I want to show you that's kind of cool within these records is that sometimes you will see this little cited by option as well as references. References, these are going to be links out to the articles that are referenced by this article. So in their works cited list, this is ways to find these different sources. Cited by goes the other way. So these are going to be more recent articles that are citing and including this particular article within their works cited list. So this kind of helps you with that citation trail and is another way to kind of discover research as you're going along. If you need help searching in PsycINFO and More, we do have some research tools. EBSCO Connect is some documentation about actually searching within all EBSCO products, not just PsycINFO and More, but additional ones here. As well as help from Ask a Librarian. So this will take you out to our Ask a Librarian page. And we also have down in the lower right corner, our chat is kind of embedded there, and that will open up in a new item. So this was a basic introduction to searching in PsycINFO and More. If you have additional questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to a librarian. And thank you for watching.